So the symposium is going to start soon, so please feel free to come back to your seat and be comfortable and get ready for the symposium given by our 4 professors.
รายการของการเสวนาในช่วงที่จะถึงนี้นะครับจะเป็นหัวข้อที่หลายท่านอาจจะสนใจนะครับว่า KMOS คืออะไรแล้วจะมาจัดการเรื่องการทำประชาพิจารณ์ได้อย่างไรนะครับท่านศาสตราจารย์ดร.โชนะครับมาจากจงนำนะครับมหาวิทยาลัยจงนำที่เกาหลีใต้นะครับคณะสังคมศาสตร์นะครับ Social Science นะครับจะขยายภาพให้ดูเกี่ยวกับ KMOS นะครับตามด้วยนะครับอิสรภาพของสื่อในสังคมประชาธิปไตยนะครับโดย Professor ดิชาอุมบักนะครับจากคณะนิติศาสตร์มหาลัยพอสดัมนะครับที่เยอรมนีนะครับตามด้วยอิสรภาพของสื่อในช่วงการเลือกตั้งประธานาธิบดีอินโดนะครับโดยดร.ฮิดายัตนะครับจากคณะวิทยาศาสตร์การสื่อสารนะครับของมหาวิทยาลัยปัจจารันนะครับอินโดนีเซียนะครับแล้วก็เรื่องของการรู้เท่าทันสื่อในสังคมเกาหลีนะครับโดยProfessor ชอยนะครับจากฮันกุก University ด้านการศึกษาระหว่างประเทศนะครับของเกาหลีใต้นะครับโดยผู้ดำเนินรายการก็คือท่านดร.ชอนะครับจากมหาวิทยาลัยปัญญาภิวัตรครับผม
So we are now moving on to the International Symposium, and on the stage we have our moderator, Dr. Kanyika Shaw from the Panyapiwat Institute of Management on the stage. And we also have Professor Sun Kyum Cho from the Faculty of Social Science from Chongnam University in South Korea, who will present us with the collaborative public opinion research and KMOS. We also have Professor Dieter Umba from the Faculty of Law at the Potsdam University in Germany, who will present us about the media freedom in democratic societies. And we also have Dr. Danang Ramat Hidayat from the Dean from the Faculty of Communication Science at the University of Panjajaran in Indonesia, who will present us with the independence of media and the presidential election in Indonesia. We also have Professor Suk Chue from Hankuk University for Foreign Studies in South Korea, who will present us with the media literacy in Korean society. We will now leave our stage to the moderator and the 4 speakers.
Okay, good morning everybody. Should I use Dr. Pairot words then? Are you happy to see me today? Okay, long time no see, right? We start, how long do we have? About an hour and a half. So I give you not more than 20 minutes each. Dr. Cho said I prepare for 2 hours today. 10 minutes. Professor Umbak said 10 minutes. Okay. And I think I know that you have PowerPoint presentation. So Sang Kim's going to stay there. And we will hear all four professor first, and then we leave the questions later. Okay. Okay, welcome Dr. Sang Kim, Professor Sang Kim.
Thank you very much. I'm more comfortable here. You have to turn your head also. Convenient.
Everyone turn to see Professor Sang Kim here. Okay.
When we started ANPOR, the first conference was in Seoul 2013. Probably at that time, the 9 countries worked together to collect data together and conduct the one common research. At the time, the quality of life was the topic. So Korea, Japan, Taiwan, China, Thailand, and India, there are some more. Anyway, 9 countries worked together to get the survey data, and we presented the result at the conference. And that presentation attracted a lot of attention, and it gives much satisfaction to all the participants. We were very happy with the result. And at the time, I was surprised to see the result. Till that time, I thought the quality of life of the Koreans were low. And many newspapers said some countries, even the economic status is not so high, but their quality of life is high. So we thought this is the problem with characteristics. So we Koreans should be satisfied with what we have, but we are always complaining of what we had. So it may be our problem. But the result said Korea, Japan, Taiwan all have the problem, same. So it's not the characteristics of Koreans, but maybe the development of economic status may cause some problem. So that may make people less happy when they got the economic development. So high GDP, but low satisfaction, low quality of life. So that gives me a little different perspective on cross-country survey. Till that time, I thought cross-country survey is good, but I am not so keen about doing that. But when I looked at the result, it is really important because without looking at others, we cannot see ourselves objectively. If I want to know more about Korean society in an objective scientific way, I have to look at what other countries are doing. So after that, I was a little more interested in conducting the cross-country survey. But the problem is the data collection costs too much money. At the time, the participating countries, they used their own resource. So we could collect the data. But after that, it is very difficult to do that again because conducting the survey costs a lot and a lot of money and energy. So we tried to do again, but till now we have not succeeded in getting the cross-country survey after that. So I realized at the time that the collecting data or having the good data for social science is really important, and I tried to persuade the grant giver of Korean country to provide some special support for social science data. And that's why I started KMOS, this one. So yes, this one I started cross-country surveys. And when I looked at the other countries, I found many social survey data which may be used for cross-country surveys. So in Europe and in Asia, Asian Parameter Survey, there are many such surveys. So I want to do that, and ANPOR could be maybe could provide that kind of data, but unfortunately it was very hard. So here, KMOS. So the Korean Research Foundation, to my happiness, they were very, they agreed with my claim that, okay, social data is really needed, and they provide a special grant for collecting the KMOS. So KMOS is a kind of social science data. So we conducted the survey with the help of the Korean Research Foundation, and any researcher all over the world who is interested in collecting data from Korea can submit their questionnaire, and we conducted the survey, and the data is open to everyone. Because it is conducted by government money, it does not belong to any one person. So the data is public, and we are open to any suggestion. So this survey started 2014. Anyway, this is the fourth year. So we did this survey annually, not one, 2 or 3 times per year. So this is very useful. And the only criteria of selecting the questionnaire to be used for survey is academic value. So any researcher who can persuade us that the questionnaire is really important in academic research, then it could be included. The only consideration, academic value. So yeah, this is the what we are doing. And this kind of survey is not my unique idea. When I visited the Netherlands, I visited one university, and there I found this kind of survey. That the name was LISS survey, LISS, and that research institute provide this kind of data to the scholars in any country who is interested in using the data in Netherlands. And that idea was very fascinating to me, so that's why I started that in Korea. But that was attractive not only to me, but to many others. So now the Germany started a similar one, and the USA have similar one. Germany, USA, Netherlands, and Korea. So 4 countries. So we are having similar project. Among the 4, Korean is the smallest one, Netherlands is the biggest one, and USA is also a little big. Anyway, the 4 countries, we met together, not physically, over the internet, and we decided to form alliance, and we share the knowledge and know-how and experience and data. So that is called OPA, OPPA. If you put OPA and search, you can find that alliance. So this alliance work together to share our experience, something like that. And sometimes if we think a certain subject is very important, the 4 survey conduct that survey simultaneously. So currently we are doing the survey on the Me2 movement, and some survey question about obesity. So the 4 countries are conducting the survey together. So not always, but sometimes. So the methodology is here, but in one word, the methodology is the one suggested by textbook. You can say that. So that survey cost, I can say, at least 5 or 10 times more than usual survey. It costs a lot because we are following the textbook methodology procedure. I cannot say perfect. It is not possible to be perfect in methodology, but we are trying to be as perfect as possible. Does it make sense? Anyway, we try to follow the textbook guideline in detail. So it costs a lot, and that's why I am doing. And you can see the response rate for this survey usually has 50%. And that percent is the number suggested by survey experts in Korea. I consulted them, and they said you need to have at least 50% to say that your survey result is scientific. So that's what I am trying to get. So this is the survey. And I wrote some papers on the scientific validity of the survey. You can find that in AJPOR. So now I am introducing this survey, not because you also have to do this kind of survey, because it requires a lot of money, so individuals cannot do it. But if you can persuade your government or your research foundation, you can do that. I really support that because the Netherlands team helped me when I tried to submit this proposal to Korean government. They visited Korea, and when I asked, they presented their paper, and also they gave all the materials to me when I tried to make some proposal. So in that same way, if you are willing to do that, I can do my best to help you, and maybe you can get some help from other countries. But that is another problem. So as an individual scholar, I hope you may be more interested in conducting cross-country surveys or cross-country studies. So if you are interested in, you just make your questionnaire and send it to us, or you can see the data we collected till now. If you can find some data which you are interested in, then you can use that data and your data together. So you can do some cross-country surveys. So here, these are the topics I already included in the survey. For example, some family problem. That means we are entering the aging society, right? So we have asked many such questions. Why do Korean women not marry? So we tried to study that problem from various perspectives. Is it because the society has some unequal something? So we asked the women why you are not married, and also why not having children. So many scholars participated in that project, and they gave us many questions. So you can find many interesting questionnaires. So recently, one scholar told me that yes, maybe some other perspectives is needed in solving the population problem. So they gave us new questions. So those questions will be included in coming survey. So that might be also interesting. And recently, fake news got a very large attention from various countries. So 3 or more research team asked me to include the fake news items. So I decided to include them. So some very interesting concept of fake news will be included. And also some other questions are included here. And also the perceived income inequality is also very interesting. That study shows that the people with less income feels less inequality in the society. It seems to be the opposite to my expectation, but very interesting result. So that is also included. And health literacy. That topic is new in this survey. We have never included that topic, but this time we tried to include that questions. So if you have any other suggestions, we are open to it. So you can submit, and also you can use the data collected already. So you don't need our permission. You just go to website. You can download the data and English questionnaire and all the methodology. Everything is there. You just download it and read it. You don't need to send us any letter. You just use it. And when you use it, present the paper, you just write it. This data, we use the KMOS data, something like that. It is not you can put it in your methodology part. And no other requirement is needed. Just use it. And we tried to our best, because when you submit your paper to a very established journal, they may request, is the data obtained scientifically? Sometimes the researcher have to show that the data was collected in a scientific way. So for that in mind, we tried to provide all the information of the survey in the website. So any researcher can utilize that information. So for more information, you don't need to ask me. You can go to that website. That website is well designed. You can find any information in there. And if you are more interested in the methodology, also you can find the paper. So this cross-country survey was the topic or the area which Professor Gentima Kekwao and I and many other ANPOR scholars have been interested in. So we tried to make it realized in some way. So thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Professor Cho. Can we move to the second one, Professor Umbak, who's going to talk about media freedom in democratic society. Are you going to sit here or are you going to be there?
Okay, good morning, Sadikap. Special Sadikap for Gentima. I have to make two remarks beforehand. If you have to give a paper, you usually, first thing is to look at the title and try to criticize the organizer. I will not do that, but I will make a slight alteration. Communication studies at the crossroad, that is very ambivalent. What kind of roads? And especially here in Thailand, you have the trouble that you have left-hand traffic, and most other countries you have right-hand traffic. So this is already a good opportunity for a lot of accidents. But we will not go deeper into these accidents. And if I look at my specific subject, it's media freedom in modern democratic societies. When I started 4 weeks ago to go into this subject, I was shipwrecked. Now, what is a modern democratic society? If you look at the African continent, if you look on the Asian continent, luckily they did not pronounce modern Western democratic society, because what is in West part of the world, democratic society might not be the case in other parts of the world. So media freedom, also that embraces a lot of questions, freedom of the press, freedom of expression, etc. So I choose for myself the freedom of expression. When I told that, a Thai student here, he asked me a very naughty question: do we have freedom of expression in Thailand? Now, I remembered an advice of my old teacher, the president of the Constitutional Court. He said, if you are asked something like that, you say, I don't have any idea of your situation here. Or you answer as a lawyer and you say, it depends. So it depends can mean everything. So of course it depends, but you are a scientific community here, so I will give a very cautious answer. I saw lately, I think 1 or 2 days ago in the newspapers, that my old colleague Prinya, who is vice rector of Thammasat University, gave a very clear-cut answer. What he supposed, the fact is to be judged that there is no result of the election here until, and that there is no government to be formed. He criticized that very openly. So, insofar, I would say there is evidently free expression, because he didn't went into jail, nothing else. On the other side, it's not a secret that the jurisdiction on lèse-majesté in other countries is regarded as very unusual and not to say strange. But insofar, I will keep to my old teacher's advice and don't say anything more. Now, it's very clear that the written constitution and nearly all bills of right invariably protect freedom of speech. It seems to be one of the fundamental liberties and protections against state suppression. It is very clear freedom of expression is a protection against the state. But that is not the only side. It can also be a protection against, let's say, mighty, powerful economic company who tries, so to say, to undermine this right. It is guaranteed by, you all know that, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights and by international conventions, especially the European Convention on Human Rights, which came into the constitutions of most European countries. Political philosophers have argued for the liberty of opinion and discussion and for a free speech simple under the title to get the greater degree of immunity from regulation than other forms of conduct which cause similar harm. But they say also, what is the aim of that? What has to come out is to be a greater discussion among the citizens, and that is at least the theory. The larger the discussion is and the more intense, the better the solutions is, and the community should have a chance to develop that. Now, some of you will know that John Stuart Mills has written this classic essay of the liberty of thought and discussion. So today, some of these theories sound very old and are not so en vogue. The function of courts in that regard has become eminent. And we have, in our European constitutional courts, we have a lot of decisions regarding freedom of expression. Is the case that you are criticizing a professor in very harsh words in an open debate and in the newspapers, do you make use of your freedom of expression? If you call him with not very nice words, is that still, so you are, so to say, walking on ice. Naturally, there may be a little less difficulty where the free speech clause contains more specific provisions. That is the case in our German constitution, but that is a special situation, or has been a special situation, because after the war, we developed that constitution, which was called the Basic Law, so to say, in contrast of the experiences we made during the Nazi regime, during the Third Reich. Everything in that constitution is to be understood before that background. And in so far, free speech was eminent, expected. And if you speak students from the former German Democratic Republic, if you ask them now what is the most important of these fundamental rights, they will clearly say it's free speech, because you went into jail if you were on the wrong side of speaking, so to say. The protection of freedom and the protection of freedom of expression is in most modern constitutions probably more closely connected with all citizens allowing an equal right to engage in open public debate and discourse than that is with John Stuart Mill's argument, who had the theory, what is it good for? It's good for finding the truth. Now, have you ever seen that after a long public discussion, the truth came out? And when it came out, several sections of truth came out. and until the end you did not know now what is now the real truth. So you see that is more complicated than it sounds. I will name several arguments for free speech principle. Now, one is still, so to say, the historical argument, the importance of discovering truth. But that has to live or has to be developed in a special procedure. Does, out of the discussions between political parties, the truth comes out? The question is very negative to answer, I think, for all of us, notwithstanding from which country. That means historically it's the most durable and moralic argument for free speech. It has been based on the importance of an open discussion to the discovery of the truth. If restrictions on speech are tolerated, society prevents the ascertainment and publication of accurate facts and valuable opinions. Now, the word valuable opinion is also very ambivalent. Which opinion is valuable? That of a minority or that of the majority? And we have seen that in our German history, that majority is not only and always on the right side. The decisive question is how to protect that. However, the greatest difficulty with Mill's argument, the truth-finding, is the implicit assumption that freedom of discussion necessarily brings out the truth. I must clearly say, no, that is not the case, or very rarely, or in very developed democratic societies. Second point is free speech is an aspect of self-fulfillment. Now that is used to a rarer degree. It's the second major theory of the free speech seen as an integral part of each individual's right to self-development and fulfillment. That means I need to say something, and only if I can say that, and if I can, so to say, develop this opinion, my personality is gaining, so to say, richness and can develop. At the level of a general philosophy, it is reasonable to ask why freedom of speech is particularly important to a person's self-fulfillment. I think that is pretty clear. If you, so to say, suppress that, you will sooner or later find a big group being unsatisfied. Now, the third argument is from citizens' participation in a democracy. This is perhaps the most understandable argument for free speech, and it's easily understandable, at least in Western democracies. Representative judicial view has been in the judgment of Judge Brandeis, who accentuated that is so necessary that without participation, democracy cannot live. Now, the means and ways of participation are very different, and some governments call participation what is not really a participation when they let you vote on something which has no consequences and is an unimportant question. The last argument pro free speech is suspicion of government. You are of the opinion, you as, so to say, the bearer of that fundamental right, it's the claim that there is something special about the characteristics and consequences of speech. It enables the discovery of truth. It's crucial for the working of a democracy, and the citizens have particularly strong reasons to be suspicious of government in this context. This is clearly a very negative argument, because you see always the government in a position where you should control them. And unfortunately, there are enough reasons to control them, notwithstanding if it's a Western democracy or if it's democracy in the East, in Asia, or wherever it may be. Now, there are different interests you have to have in mind, and I have to shorten my thing. There are different interests. For one, there is the speaker's interest in communicating ideas and informations. Every speaker has the interest, so I'm interested that I, so to say, give away and distribute. But also the audience has an interest. I hope you have an interest to hear what we are saying from different countries in receiving ideas and information. If you get the information in our neighboring country, this and that is dealt in a totally different way that might be critical for the government, but it's helpful for the citizens. But also the bystanders, that is the public, has a certain interest to hear about this and that. Now, we have different positions and different developments in countries. I will only name three of them very shortly. In our British neighbors, they remain neighbors after all, even if they exit. There hasn't been a constitution, as you all know, but with the introduction of the European Charter of Human Rights, that was introduced and became valuable as the Norman common law. The common law and principle of statutory interpretation was very important and changed. I wonder if the British will keep the European Charter of Human Rights. In principle, they could, if they want, abandon it. I hope they don't do it. There are several other examples. I won't go into it. The most famous example is, of course, the First Amendment of the Constitution of the United States. It sounds, quote, "Congress shall make no law abriding the freedom of speech or of the press or the right of the people peacefully to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances." Now, rarely has such an apparently simple legal text produced so many problems of interpretation. If you look into the internet and the judgments of the American Supreme Court in that regard, you are drowned by decisions. Nevertheless, I think the decisions the American Supreme Court makes in that regard are usually very convincing and mostly on the side of free speech. I would like to quote at the end our German constitution, have that background in mind after a destroyed nation comes back and tries to formulate a new, so to say, set of rules. It sounds in Article 5, "Everyone shall have the right freely to express and to disseminate his opinion by speech, writing, and pictures, and freely to inform himself from generally accessible sources. Freedom of the press and freedom of reporting by means of broadcasts and films are guaranteed. The rights are limited by the provisions of the general laws, the provisions of law for the protection of youth, and by the right to inviolable of personal honor." And then comes something very special, which you find in no other constitution. "Art and science, research and teaching shall be free. Freedom of teaching shall not absolve from loyalty to the Constitution." Now, this is something very special because it's a very detailed enumeration of freedoms of speech, and it showed that the German fathers, and to be correct, also mothers of the Constitution, had in mind that it would not be helpful to have a general clause. To give you one example at the end, we have one decision also connecting with our German past. There was a film who was very critical of Jews, so to say, the description of Jewish character. And this man, Veit Harlan, wanted to show it after the war. And one man, he asked everybody to boycott this film because they said, now he has a bad Nazi past. And clearly, this would have meant damage. Many people were interested to see that film by political interest or simply by curiosity. And it came up to the Constitutional Court, and the Constitutional Court said, because that would have been an immense damage to this director of a public institution, who said, no, you should boycott that film. And it came out that the court stated that this was an example of freedom of expression in view of a political standpoint. I think our Constitutional Court always was on the side of the political standpoint. Just the last remark, there is a certain danger in the last 2-3 years to make laws which prohibit the free expression under a certain view. For example, the prohibition of hate mail or the prohibition of hatred comments. And we have one law which does not allow to have the free, so to say, expression that the Holocaust never had taken place. So there are in the special history of a country also limitations. I'm very skeptical of further limitations. So to say nothing negative about immigrants or refugees. That has to be discussed in the political sphere. But we will see what the future brings. Thank you very much indeed. Terima kasih.
Well, thank you. Very interesting talk about freedom of speech. And we still don't have answer about election in Thailand because you said as a lawyer, say nothing. Okay, we can put some questions with Professor Sang Kim though in your survey, cross-national survey. What do you think about freedom of speech? You might find the answer. Yeah, okay. Now we move to Dr. Dadang, and it's from Indonesia. Are you going to use that? Okay, and he has a PowerPoint.
Yeah, thank you. It's a great pleasure for me to deliver this paper, especially in the occasion the Jantima anniversary. Thank you, the deans. Okay, my paper about the independency of media and presidential election in Indonesia. You know what? we start with what are the media issue? Okay, in my opinion, there are some issues. The first, independency and neutrality of media, domination and hegemony, media ownership, especially in Indonesia. I will show later how the media is not too diverse for the, especially for the television. There are media business, and then also capacity and disorientation of some journalists. And then also the role and the influence of the media after the media social is coming. Yeah, in Indonesia, I think it's the very important issue about the news orientation. You know that the media also among business, political and public interest. In fact, the interest of power or politics, business and public interest, and the existence of media are mutually exclusive or control each other. they are the theory, the fourth theory of the press. So about they are the legislative power, executive power, judicial power, and then the pers is the fourth estate. But it's now common, quote, our political, business, and media interests are united while the public interest is neglected. Political and business interests control the running of the media, major and even journalists cannot act independently. In the political context, the media cannot be neutral. I said that this is in the Indonesian case. I don't know in Thailand or the others three. Independency and neutrality are very important to protect the public interest. In my opinion, if business too heavy, media, I call that the situation driven by market, driven by business. And then if the political influence is very strong, I said that the political driven. I hope for the ideal, there are equality, equality, and I hope the public driven, public interest, it's more important. Because really, in my opinion, the journalists, they have responsibility to raise the public interest. In Indonesia, we have complete regulation and ethic about the media. In the reform era, I think that the media is very protected by law, especially for the media freedom, journalist freedom, press freedom. They are always said that the media or journalists are protected by the law. They are the Constitution, they are Press and Broadcasting Act, and also the Professional Act, the Code of Ethics, said that media, especially the journalists, should be protected, and they have the freedom to write, freedom to deliver, and freedom to publish. They are this is the Indonesian Journalist Code of Ethics, one of the article. Indonesian journalists are independent, produce news that is accurate, balanced, and not in bad faith. This is the example, so an ideal ethical for the practical of the journalist. And then at the Broadcasting Act, there are articles said that the content of the broadcast must be kept neutral and may not prioritize the interests of certain group. This is the ideal too. Broadcast content is prohibited. The example are slanderous, inciting, misleading, and or lying. And then, especially for the election, when I was a commissioner at the Indonesian Broadcasting Commission, I talked with the election commission, and we made some understanding, and we made the together regulation to create how the broadcasting, especially television and radio, running well and balanced and at the election. They are, the broadcasting institution must provide sufficient time. For example, provide sufficient time for coverage of election and regional election. Broadcasting institution must behave fairly and proportionally to the participant of the election. And then broadcasting institutions are prohibited from being partition one of the participants in the election. Election participants are prohibited from funding or sponsoring program broadcast by broadcasters. Once again, this is the ideal situation, ideal regulation. I took what should be the journalists doing to be the professional. I took from the Code of Ethics Society of Professional Journalists. Journalists should seek the truth and report it, minimize harm, act independently, and be accountable. Again and again, there is so many base that media and journalists should be natural, should be the good act for the public interest. I will show about the Indonesian media mapping. This is Indonesian media mapping. You can show that this is the big group in Indonesia. They are the media Nusantara Citra MNC, and they claim as the biggest media at the Southeast Asia. They claim. They have 4 television with the nationwide. This is the biggest. So they are Bakri Brothers, MTech Group. I will show later how they take a side to the presidential election. This is so many media, and this is the not only broadcast, but they are print, radio, not only broadcast, they are print and online. Television, radio, print, and online. And then I do the little survey. How about the public perception about the 19 television with the national network or national wide broadcast? This is about the survey. I do with the online survey. There are 31 provinces in Indonesia, and there are 370 respondents. This is the percentage, and the average watch time is 2 hours 22 minutes after the presidential candidate has been nominated until 10 days after the election. Yesterday. And survey show the respondent, they think the media, especially the television, should be neutral. They are 74.3%. They want the media to be neutral, about the presidential election, and the perception that about the impartiality, it should be give benefit to the candidate about 78.3, and they said maybe about 16.8 and no 4.9. And then, is it what media saw about the program and news program? They think that the influence to the preference. It's I think very interesting in the media media social era. Television in Indonesia is still high influence the preference. They are 68.9%, maybe 22 and no 12%. And then this is the important things. This is my concern. I worry how the public they don't trust media anymore. If the media always take a side to the like in election, or not only election, there are so many issues, economical issue, social issue, so many environmental issue. It's very important. Yeah, they think that influence the trust from the respondent to the TV credibility after they show what the television in Indonesia shows. They are 81.8 said that yes, the potential to be not trust again what they show, and no 18.2. This is the next slide. It will be how the media take a side on public perception, perception. Because when we ask to the journalists, to the media, are you take a side? No, I am independent. No. My friend from Bukit Tinggi, from Indonesia, know better. They are the television said that independent. But if we see the program, they are take a side. That's right. Okay. This is the survey. The respondents said that they are the 19 television take aside the Jokowi. Jokowi is our current president. Take aside about 90.10%, and then neutral 32.70%, and take aside to Prabowo only 7.14%. But until now, the reasons they are the after the election at the 17th April, they are the quick count. And that the quick count saw that about 45% Indonesian people chose the Jokowi. 55%, and 45% choose the Prabowo. If we consider or take a look about this infrastructure, media infrastructure, it should be Jokowi more than 55 if the public trust the television. If the public trust the television, it should be, if there are no the other variable, it should be no, it's more than 55. And there are the concept, I think it's not theory, said that Gabriel Almond said that all of the perform in political system, like the election, and at the political system, there are the political and recruitment, there are interest articulation, interest aggregation, rule making, rule application, and rule adjudication. He said that all performed by means of communication. That's why so many candidates, so many people, politicians, they try to get the good perception, good branding with using the media. Not many politicians in Indonesia, they have opportunity to show their activity in media. So that's why in Indonesia there are phenomena. I don't know in Thailand. They are artists, yeah, artists, drama artists, singer. The party took them as a candidate to be the what do you call? To get the voters, So many artists in Indonesia. Every parties they are artists, popular, and not they have low cost to be more popularity. But the people like me, if I want to be the candidate, I want to be politician, I have to more effort than the artists. And really, when we arrive the airport, there are artists coming, and then the fans. When we are arriving, there is no yelling us. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, this is the last. I think this is my opinion. The media partisanship. This is the potential. I worry about that. The trust to the media will decrease. In my in Indonesian experience, we are try hard to protect the media, to get the freedom of the media, and now the threat come not from the what we call the authority, and come from the owner, come from the business interest. Yeah. And then their potential narrowing the public access to clear information. Because in communication method, that they are the agenda setting, they are the framing, they are the discourse. We can analyze what 10 of the media shows. What the 10 of the media show, especially in the political occasion. Something like that. They are media, they took the same frequency. For Jokowi and Prabowo. But actually, the same, they took for example, 3 times. The same 3 times for Jokowi, 3 times for Prabowo. But if we see the substance, 3 times for Jokowi it could be good branding, good perception. But some of three for the Prabowo, it could be they are one or two. It's not. It will be increased about his good popularity. Not only frequency, not only quantitative, but if we see deep and more deep, they are a different intents. So that's why we saw that it's not neutral. And the last, the media partisanship, they are potential to abandon by audience or readers and advertiser, and maybe they only follow by the coalition, the part of the coalition, part of the aliens. That's all. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Dadang. So it's very interesting. The media in Indonesia is trust is decreased because of their job is not done very well, right? And they take part in political election, probably a bit similar to Thailand. But I'll take Professor Umbak advice when we talk about political election in Thailand. We say nothing to be safe. Okay, we move to the last speaker, Professor Sukchoi. She's going to use PowerPoint as well. So we can listen to media literacy to see moving from Indonesia how the user literate themselves.
I'm very pleased to throw a presentation on such a special day to all of you and your great professor. And I must say, before I just start this presentation, I should say it's good for us, all of us, to have the chance to show how much we respect you, Professor Chantima, and who is an awesome leader who have contributed to the healthier future of Thailand on the crossroad. We can say professors can retire one day, but scholars cannot retire. So I'm looking forward to your never-ending hard work with my admirer. Congratulations, anyway. In this context, I should define education first here. Education is not simply defined as teaching and receiving knowledge. Education stands for a communication in media literacy field to share and discuss about the media-mediated your world. Right, let's go on the first slide of my presentation. Actually, today, as seen globally, various countries are making the policy for media literacy, and education should be improved by this field. Nowadays in Korea, there's a rapid part of a radical rise of perception and importance of media education. Actually, as you know, one of the reasons is the prominent phenomenon of fake news or fake media and the related social problems. Due to the development of technologies such as the normalization of SNS, as you are using now, and AI, deepfake, or Photoshops kind of things, it is easy for anyone to manipulate the images and make fake images like real ones. People always believe that education is a very simple way to solve social problems fundamentally. But likewise, the claim that media education is a fundamental solution to social problems to all the countries nowadays. Because it is believed that media literacy education can develop the ability to identify the first information in election, any media about any kind of themes there. And whatever media education can solve the problems perfectly or not, it is true, media education is necessary to perform in these digital times. Actually, there are a lot of great examples from other countries, but because I came from South Korea, so I'd like to introduce Korea's examples. Actually, this is the very rough history of media literacy education in Korea. It is very rough. If you want to quote it, then you should email first to me, right? Let's think about it together. There are a lot of great examples from other countries, but then now, maybe it could be some kind of models for Asian countries, I think. Anyway, then now let's brief some here. From whatever to 1980s, the media education of Korea started from like a religious organization, like a Catholic, and exercise to protect not prisoners, audiences, right? I'm sorry. Actually, they just say the children is in kind of prison there, right? I think it's that the file I just went to. Anyway, I just copied the other one. I'm sorry. Anyway, exercise to protect not prisoners, audiences from harmful media, and the democratization of media in pursuit of freedom. Turn off the TV. Children, you are just eating very bad things from television. Please turn off and study, right? That is the kind of media education. But it's changing. And viewer movement. Prevention of childhood media addiction, children's youth as an independent audience, and media users' education to prepare for digitalization. Some spells there. And till 2001, I'll fix the file later and I'll give you send later again. And various media education sites and programs appeared, and construction of media centers of various sizes of formats in nationwide in Korea. Media universal access was very focused on by the scholars, and claiming the need to improve media empowerment, increase the need for information literacy education too. And nowadays, fake news correspondence, and it could be kind of a stimulus to media education in Korea. And improving critical thinking ability is very important nowadays about social problems caused by smart media and social media. And support the participation in global civil society, establish legal basis for revitalizing media education is focused nowadays. It is a very short history of Korean media education. And here is a brief of where and who plans media literacy education or the policies as taking place in Korea. Some representative public institutions are community media foundation, as you see the left side, and the other side you can see some other organizations. In the community media foundation is centered on the media education and media access right, and under the Korea Communication Commissions. And we have a system in place to enact legislation to manage the media centers that were built in Seoul and metropolitan cities. And the other one, another one organization is the Korea Press Foundation. Is a foundation funded by Korea Newspaper Association. Media education business team and research team belong to it. And they develop and provide media education materials in instructional materials for each life cycle from infants to other people. They have a kind of archive named for me, so you can use it. And the other one side is you can see the logo MediAct, which is center supporting community media or freedom of press too. And in addition to these 2 and 3, all of the other institutions, there are many other public and private institutions too. There are programs operated by broadcasters and newspapers too. They must be very responsible for their manipulated or some neutral things. But anyway, they are performing some kind of the education. And various forms of media education linked with coding, ICT, VR, AR media, like anything. But critical thinking and critical literacy and decoding some actively or subjectivity. The kind of things are rising nowadays. So it seems Korea's media literacy education is really well done, but we have another, yes, it's yes or no. It's yes sometimes, but it's definitely no sometimes. Right. It is true that Korea's media education, which has been running very fast, and because it is struggling with the stimulation of fake news nowadays, as evolving with various supports. But there are also some negative adverse effects too. But beyond these things, I just want to focus on. Actually, these are the. Although the core of education structure in Korea is school, but media education is not established as an independent subject in school, so we have to just have the class not very official. It could be very unofficial, and this makes it, even though it is in school, right, it is not very official. Anyway, this makes it harder for professional education or professional educators to be achieved. So the goal of media literacy education differs from institution to institutions. As a result, media education in Korea was so fragmented nowadays, but that could be another, that is because it is fragmented, so it could be stronger. So have no overall agreed goals. As the arguments differ according to the goals and understanding of each institution, any education field will be seen as a media literacy education as long as the media such as newspapers and broadcastings and internet enter the world. The third, there is a claim that media education in Korea weakens its long-held significance. It's about, in Korea, media education, especially the strengthening of critical reading capacity, has raised the awareness of the importance of independent media as the active audience and contributed the capacity to actively, subjectively participate in social development. However, it is argued that media literacy education is mentioned as the countermeasures to fake news or fake media, which may violate the independence of activeness or freedom of media users. And but beyond these things, there is no simple way to teach fake media, distinguishing by the skills. In fact, there is no simple any things like that one. There is nothing more reliable than only straight news, actually. So this means that the effect of narrowing the range of social responsibilities and functions of media is created. So beyond these various concerns I have mentioned above, so Korea's media literacy education is trying to find what the right direction of educators. First, it is assumed that media literacy education cannot be an universal, perfect solution of the problem caused by fake news. The ultimate goal is not to distinguish facts. It is for journalists. So teaching how to check facts can be performed at a very basic level to literally tell you how to tell whether it actually happened or not, and to practice. I don't say it's fake or it's not fake. I ask learners the question why and how this question might look like real, and ask about various reasons such as the fact that false information seems to be cleverly factual, about graphic technology, psychological manipulation, discuss, or aim to reconsider. In addition, we are striving to ensure that the conditions and contents are faithful to the nature of media literacy education. The ultimate goal is to raise citizenship nowadays. Especially in this context, the global citizenship should be very important. It's based on sustainable development, right? To the nature of media literacy education, the which was the essence of Korean media literacy education. We are trying not to become an unconscious or secret election campaign hidden in excuse that the field of media literacy education will distinguish false information or overflowing during the election period. And I will give you some kind of examples. The last one, actually, a little. Yeah, this is me, right? This is a case, it's not perfect case, but this is a very recent case I just performed for equal, independent, and sustainable media development. This is just a one-day workshop at my university. That can be kind of example. Representative from various institutions may be collaborated to promote academic and behavior work, and they co-host a global media literacy training conference or help open a media literacy course at a university. In the past, educational programs focusing on preventing media and immersion of children, but have become more diverse nowadays. So targeting elderly people or low-income families or promoting joint educational programs for generations. So in recent decades, education programs which are devoted to the use of digital imaging equipment are in balance with theoretical education and theoretical education that helps to detoxify critically and also the practice too. As a scholar, I am willing to make a small contribution to media literacy education in Korea. I hope that the prejudices and inequalities will disappear and the field of media education to achieve a sustainable development will increase. Now, let me introduce this workshop a little more. That is just for foreign students in my university. They just all together studied citizenship, global citizenship, and to decrease some delicate conflicts between Korean students and other foreign students there. So it was a very good experience for me there, and I just wanted to introduce just a little bit of media literacy here. Thank you for listening. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Professor Sukchoi. Shall I invite all speakers on the stage to answer questions? We have 5 minutes, right, before 12. But Professor Chanthima said just take until end of the day. Okay, invite here. About 5 minutes though, to ask questions. Any questions from the floor? No? Can I ask? Yes? Yes. Can we have any helper to pass the microphone to...
I will introduce myself. I am Sirini Siripongpan. Used to be work at Election Commission of Thailand. I have one question about media literacy. Yeah, I want to know about how to prepare for media literacy for the senior citizen country and how the government support about this project. Because the senior is very important person to be a victim all of the media from TV or newspaper or every media. The senior is very important to pay to be a victim. I think because I am a senior and I'm used to be a victim about the media advertisement or so many things in internet or email when some they sell or product or represent for the news, we are how to know about the real or the fake news, how to government to support, how to give the knowledge for them. Thank you.
Okay, Professor Sukchoi, do you have any example in Korea? Do you have any kind of program to protect senior citizen from fake news or from Sang Kim just laugh because like elderly, they normally have time and money, stay at home, and they buy everything from line advertising or television advertising. Do you have any example from Korea?
I can say yes and no. Actually, we have a lot of programs for elderly people, and I think the question is really important. Yeah, and I cannot summarize everything about elderly people, but I think that is a good point to be victim, right? Yeah, sometimes elderly people can be victim. Yeah, sometimes I think sometimes seniors can be victim, and sometimes, yeah, they do that, right? I mean, they do make it the young people victims too, sometimes. But anyway, we have actually. I just introduced these two organizations. One of those is under the government, so it has a lot of programs for elderly people. They can learn how to use the device too, and they can discuss about something conservative, some issues which should be conservative or which should not be conservative. They have the kind of field to discuss together. Actually, elderly people can be isolated nowadays, right? So they need to have their own field to talk and discuss together. Sometimes with youngers too. So they support from government. Yes, they actually willing to support people, the elderly people learn about media. And nowadays we have kind of trends that kind of some very attractive elderly people have their own media on YouTube or something. One of elderly YouTubers, when she is she is kind of a new star there. So what she wears and what she talks and what she visits, right? Yeah, is directly kind of a fashion trend. So it could, so elderly people can influence, right, the society nowadays. So if we just make some people opinion leaders who are elderly, could be contribution to society too.
Okay, thank you. So the government set up a bit of health media literacy for elderly,
Yes.
and
They support.
society have to look after the elderly people group so they can talk and exchange idea about media literacy, right? And you said some elderly people become a mini influencer, say that, so they have followers and they can check for the right information.
We have a lot of media centers, and at the centers they can just borrow the devices and they can make classes there too, right?
Thank you. You have any questions? Yes.
I'm very interested.
Can you introduce yourself first?
My name is. I'm a student, Doctor of Asian Arts ครับ I'm interested in the KMOS methodology, and I would like you to suggest us that can we apply this methodology to our research ครับ
Professor Sang Kim, the PhD students want to know about KMOS a bit more. Can they use the system? Do they have to apply, or how can they use it?
It is open to anyone who has any intention to study any subject. So as long as the research question is academically valid, and if the researcher can show it, then the questions can be accepted.
So you can use it. It's the open system, but as long as your question is academically correct, so you can post your questions on the system. Okay. Who will verify questions? I asked you more. Who will verify?
We have usually we have a committee composed of 5 or 6 members and from various fields in social sciences. So they will see whether the questions can be used for academic paper or the questions can be used by any other social scientist. It does not take long. Whenever the question comes, we have the meeting. So maybe 1 month. Within 1 month, the answer can be written.
Okay, so you can submit questions and they have committee to validate your questions. It takes about 1 month. So if no answer is mean question is not good, okay? Any other questions? Yes. We talk everything except from election, okay?
I'm very interested about election too. My question is, if you have a voluntary project about youth media or elder or senior media to support, to join, for participate about election. As my country, like Election Commission of Thailand, we have 2 projects about the youth, like the short film before we have election, about anti-corruption from politician, or the voluntary scout in the polling place when we have election days. If you have the project about participate from youth or senior, please let me know. I want to hear it because it's very important when the people join for the election. Is meaning neutral and a clear election too. Thank you.
Just share idea, right? Okay, so previous to election in Thailand, we have a lot of campaign about anti-corruption or go out to vote, so people can go out. And any situation, the same thing, campaigns in any countries. So Dr. Dada, do you have campaign for people to go out for election? Is it from the media or government?
Yeah, the same thing in Indonesia. There are program from the Election Commission every level for the national or for the at the regions. They took a program to how to be the youth participation at the election, not only participation but the quality participation by the how they know about what the important the election, how the important their vote to make the democracy, of course, the best or the good or quality democracy. But the problem is the media is not too interested. There's some media, but the problem is the campaign from the election commission. Some media take high price for the campaign. Yeah. As when I was Indonesian Broadcasting Commission commissioner, I was a chair at the 2010 2010 to 2012, we make the agreement with the election commission that every program from the election commission, not only election commission, but from the party, from the candidate, it took didn't put to the commercial program. Commercial price. There are some media agree with that. Agree with that, and then they, like the what we call iklan lain masyarakat, we call the advertising for the public. So that's only low cost. The really mean is how to the people, especially the youth, especially the youth, not only participant, but to be the smart voter. So not only in media, I took the part of the campaign. I'm going to the some place like we came yesterday in Chiang Mai, very isolated place in Indonesia. So there are people, they don't know when the election will be held, who was the candidate, what the program offer from the candidate. That's I think the need of the media literacy, need the media political literacy. So we need, thank you if they are offering to make join the program for the literacy of the youth or something, not only youth but for the elderly. That's it.
Okay, so yeah, there's a bit of campaign, but they have to pay the price like advertising, and some people don't know about the campaign at all. Can I ask the same questions to Professor Umbach? Since Germany has very long history of democracy, so do you still have campaign for teenagers? Is it your time to vote now? Do you have the same thing?
Thank you. We are not such an old democracy, only 70 years now. But this is enough. There's a special situation in the Federal Republic. When you are admitted as a political party, you get free TV time and free radio time. And this is distributed equally. So all parties have the same chance. Of that, you have the possibility to address in newspapers advertisement until 24 hours before. But usually mostly seen is the TV spots, which are totally up in responsibility to the political parties. Either they make it really good and smart, or they make it not so smart. For example, if you compare the publicity, it's now, we have started the campaign for the election of the European Parliament. You can see that the right-wing party is really using old, I would say, old hammers to put nails in. And besides that, there is a joint campaign of political parties and the government to bring young voters to vote, because that is difficult. It's very clear they are sometimes fed up with politics. We have a special word, German word, which has spread over the world, Politikverdrossenheit. It means they are so fed up with the quarrel, with the discussions, with the non-results, and that they abstain. And that is luckily from nearly all parties and from the government. That is a movement to bring them to the voting box, and that has, I think, a certain effect. And astonishingly, the youth associations of the big parties, they have a new afflux. They have got a new number of members. It seems like some of them have said now, I can only change that if I take part myself. I hope it continues, but I don't know. But insofar, the campaigning is very clear, it's very settled, all have the same chance. Sometimes people make just find a new party to get their time for the protection of dogs and cats and whatever it is, up to, so to say, the proliferation of Buddhism. You have 70, 80. Sometimes it's confusing, but that's after it's over, then it's over. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for the last question. Can I ask the same for Korea? What is the situation about, young voter?
Generally, we have low rate among young people. So the election committee, which is in charge of election process in Korea, try to encourage every citizen, including especially young people, to participate in the election. And to some extent, it has been successful from my observation, but still we have a little lower voting rate in young people. But the decreasing rate is a little stopped, I can say. It was very high, the election, the voting rate was very high, but it was decreasing, but it is stopped in the middle. So, yes, they are doing various attempts to encourage young people. Do you have anything to add?
Actually, even though I am a media education scholar, I'm wondering whether education first or change the structure of media politics first. So, yes, the right answer is both, actually. So maybe campaign and encouragement can be very good education in Korea. I'm not sure. It depends on the country situation of politics currently. Maybe we can do the best what we can do.
One more change. So there was some change in the voting method. So the young people can vote anywhere he stays. So before he has to go to his place or he has to apply for absentee voting in some particular way, but it is very easy to vote.
So maybe we have a new research across countries about young voter. So we can do 4 countries now. Okay. Thank you for all professors today. Can we give them thank you? Oh no, still got questions. Okay, last question, okay? Is it okay, last question?
Symposium is such a good experience to join the symposium like this. So my ex-lecturer want to know about media literacy, that about the fake news in Thailand. It's not a fake news, but the competitor try to prove it's a fake news. So I need to know the case study like this in another country.
Okay, what she asks is we have not fake news, it's news, but competitors said this is fake.
Can I explain more a little bit?
Do you have any study or research about this?
Just like now social media has a lot of issue, and that issue try to convince the people think in their way, but the competitor try to prove that it's a fake topic. It's not true. So how about in other country, how to manage the fake news like this?
It's a long story.
Yeah, sorry.
You first.
Just a short answer. We have such a strong competition in Germany and in Europe between big newspapers. If they commit an error or something like that, they themselves will correct that as soon as possible. You can bet the next day they have corrected that. And if one is going on with that, newspaper will be attacked and criticized by the others. It would damage absolutely the reputation. So we have no problems with that if it comes out, and they are very cautious. If some news sounds strange, they remark it themselves.
It's a long story, and I cannot just find out where I can start. But anyway, right? Nowadays we changed the word fake news to wrong information, and that can. And actually, another thing I should say here is, education can be dangerous because we can make the regulation not for fake news, but for real news too. But let's think about it. Have we ever had real news? News is just sight and viewpoints of some phenomena, always. So maybe literacy, education should be discussed on the kind of value systems or ethics. It cannot be perfectly perfect, right? So maybe the question should be discussed later more, right?
Okay, so what you said is not we shouldn't focus on fakes or not, but we should focus on literate ourselves to see why and how. Yes. Okay. Oh, I think we should end the session and then we will discuss over lunchtime. Okay.
Only last one for the law for the disabled media
for disability.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because we have a deaf or a blind to be a candidate or another one, but every country, I think every country have to set up about the media for the disabled. Okay, please share us.
Okay, anyone wants to share about media for disability? Like you have sign, hand sign.
There are interest groups which look for that and which are subsidized by the government. So there are, for example, newspapers and even radio broadcasts, etc. I'm not well informed, but I know there is, because they tell me usually that there is sufficient care taken by. There's never sufficient care, I know, but I never heard any claim of being, so to say, neglected.
Yeah, I do not have enough about that. Sorry.
Okay, so Professor Sang Kim can't give enough information because he's not sure about this. We don't want to give fake news, okay? Okay, please give a big applause for our professor. Thank you. Very good information today. Okay.
ก็ขอบคุณครับเดี๋ยวจะมีก็เดี๋ยวจะขอมอบของขอบคุณท่านวิทยากรโดยทางท่านอาจารย์ที่มาจะเป็นผู้มอบนะครับเอาอาจารย์ดร.ไพโรจน์เป็นผู้มอบของขอบคุณท่านวิทยากรครับเชิญท่านหน้า
So we will now we will now give the gift to the speakers by Professor Pyro in front of the stage here, and take some photos.
ขอเรียนเชิญท่านอาจารย์ชอนะครับอาจารย์ชอท่านแรกครับผมอาจารย์ชอก่อนเลยครับ
And next we will have Professor Umba. And next we will have Dr. Hidajat. And next we will Professor Shaw.
And Professor Choi, thank you. And I would like to invite the speaker to take a group photo. นี่ครับบอกให้
May I now invite Professor Sun Kam-cho to present the plaque and flowers to Professor Jantima. Professor Cho, present the plaque for Professor Jantima and flowers as well. Yes, and please say something.
Now, เดี๋ยวทางท่านดร. Professor โชจะมีสุนทรพจน์สั้นๆให้กับท่านอาจารย์จันทิมานะครับขอทุกท่านนั่งประจำที่นะครับขอทุกท่านนั่งประจำที่ครับ
I'm very happy to have this opportunity to express my sincere thanks to Dr. Chantima Keokau for her invaluable contribution to the journal AJPOR. So Dr. Chantima created AJPOR together with me 6 years ago, and since then we have been working together on that journal. And due to her help, the AJPOR is now the only journal indexed into Scopus in the field of public opinion in Asia. And also it is indexed in KCI and will be available Google Scholar soon. When we decided to publish this journal, I didn't realize that it would be so difficult and hard to publish a journal. At that time, I thought it is very simple to collect paper and review it and design it and publish it. Very simple. So I easily decided, okay, let's make one journal. It would be very nice. But actually, it was very, very, very difficult, more than what I expected at the time. So soliciting paper was a problem, finding reviewers another problem, and reviewing the paper is really difficult. But those were anticipated. But what I didn't anticipate was the difficulty of editing and publicating itself. It was so much time consuming. So every time new issue is coming, we have to work overnight. And also a lot of financial burden, which was also didn't expect it. So I have to ask myself, why should I do this? Should I publish this journal continuously or not? So actually, I wanted to stop in some time. So sometimes I have to is it really wise to continue this journal? Should I do this? So I talked to Chantima. We have this problem. So what really I wanted is Chantima to say, okay, let's consider whether we continue or not. I wanted that answer, but she always answered, don't worry, I will help you, let's do this. So I could not say we have to consider closing the journal, something like that. I really wanted to say that, but I could not. So anyway, she said she would help. But I have to worry. Even though she said, don't worry, the worry did not disappear because as all of you know, Chantima is always in the travel. So sometimes in Paris, sometimes somewhere. So if on the day of the due date, the publication date, if Chantima is not available, what should I do? It seems like an horror what to do with that. But anyway, her optimism was a little contagious, so gradually I gave up of the quitting the job so easily. So anyway, we continued to do this. So we continued till we have indexed into Scopus last year, and at that time, that was 6 years from the publication. We have been a little successful in getting some support and getting our name a little known to others. So not so difficult from maybe last year. And after accepted into Scopus, there have been another request to me. So many publishers came to me asking, how could we put our journal into Scopus? So please let me know some secret. So certainly, I have been asked to answer that kind of journal counseling or coaching. So I am asked to do that. So the answer is very simple. So I would say, okay, try to find a very good, dedicated editor. For example, Gentima. Very simple, and it is possible. But they said, we have that kind of editor. So after that, so they wanted some more. So I have to review, look back. What made us so successful? Of course, that is due to Gentima. But instead of using the word, because people does not know Gentima, I have to say something else. So I found two factors. So we didn't realize that, but we made very good decisions at the beginning. We made the policy, and that policy, looking back, was very wise, very cleverly made. So, okay, that was one factor. That was the result of Gentima's wisdom. And the second one is we were very consistent in applying those principles. So it is also, it would not have been possible without her dedication to the journal. So these two factors were really important factor in maintaining our journal till now. So now I can say AJPR would not exist now without Gentima's firm conviction or firm commitment to our journal. So now I have to, how can I say, Gentima is now entering a new stage in her academic life. So I hope our journal still will remain as an important agenda in her life, because even though our journal is now a little better, but we still have a long way to go and many things to do before really reaching the world-class journal. So we have now many young editors. We are recruiting many editorial board members, and they are quite committed. So the future is bright, but to some time, we need still Gentima till they can replace us. So with my sincere thanks and sincere request to be continue to pay attention to us, I will present her the flower and plaque.
ครับทางท่านศาสตราจารย์ดร.โชก็ได้กล่าวสรรพจน์ที่น่าประทับใจไปแล้วนะครับก็มีการมอบดอกไม้ด้วยนะครับ
Actually, when I first accept this duty, I feel a little selfish for my colleague, for my nursing team, because we lack of the venue. So I thought if I get involved, I may have a little influence over that. No. Okay, thank you very much. This is really a surprise.
ครับ ครับในลำดับถัดไปก็ขอเรียนเชิญท่านศาสตราจารย์ดุษฎีนะครับท่านเดินทางมามอบดอกไม้ให้กับท่านอาจารย์จันทิมาขอเชิญด้านหน้าครับผม
Now Professor Dusadi will present Professor Jantima beautiful flowers.
ในโอกาสนี้ขอขอบคุณบริษัท Comedy Line สำหรับเครื่องดื่มที่รสชาติดีมากๆในวันนี้นะครับครับผมลำดับต่อจะขอเรียนเชิญบริษัท Comedy Line นะครับรับโล่จากอาจารย์ท่านอาจารย์จันทิมานะครับ
So next Professor Jantima will present the comedy line who provide us with beverage and food the plaque.
ขอเรียนเชิญท่านอาจารย์ที่มาด้านบนเวทีครับผม
We would like to invite Professor Jantima onto the stage because now we are having some special occasion from the students.
ไปภาษาอังกฤษในลำดับต่อไปจะเป็นการทำพิธีการมุทิตาจิตให้กับท่านอาจารย์ดร.จันทิมานะครับผมจะขออนุญาตเริ่มจากท่านปอเอกรุ่นหนึ่งนะครับเชิญครับ
So now it is the Mudita Jit ceremony from Professor Jantima's students, the PhD students. เป็นการมอบดอกไม้พวงมาลัยนะครับเพื่อขอบคุณคุณครูบาอาจารย์ที่ได้ประสิทธิ์ประสาทความรู้ให้กับนักศิษย์นักศึกษาขอเชิญรุ่น2ต่อเลยครับ This is the Thai culture when the students say thank you and show their respect to the students.
ช่วย
ด้วยนักศึกษาปอเอกรุ่น3นะครับก็ในอันดับต่อไปก็จะเป็นคลิปวิดีโอสั้นๆนะครับสำหรับท่านอาจารย์ที่มาที่นักศึกษาแล้วก็ผู้เกี่ยวข้องทั้งหลายได้เตรียมให้ท่านอาจารย์ไว้ได้ชมประมาณ8 นาทีถ้าอาจารย์เรียบร้อยแล้วครับขออาจารย์เชิญที่นั่งครับขอบคุณครับ
Now we have like special video clip prepared by the students for Professor Jantima. The clip is approximately 8 minutes more or less. I don't really sure, but yes, this is the video on the screen.
ณ แผ่นดินเวิ้งว้างไร้ขจีหมู่เมฆใหญ่คล้อยลงสู่พื้นภพลมพัดโบกเมล็ดพันธุ์สู่พื้นดิน เหล่าต้นกล้าน้อยใหญ่ค่อยงอกงามอันต้นไม้งามมีหนามฉันใดต้นกล้างอกจะเดินใหญ่ได้ก็ฉันนั้นสรรพสิ่งย่อมไพบูลย์ด้วยผืนดินดีเปรียบได้ดังความเมตตาของท่านอาจารย์จันทิมาเขียวแก้วผู้เป็นดั่งผืนดินรองรับให้เหล่าต้นกล้าทั้งใหญ่น้อยเชกเช่นเหล่าศิษย์นิเทศศาสตร์การตลาดหอการค้าไทยได้เติบโตหากเอ่ยถึงครูหรือนักวิชาการที่มากบารมีคงเป็นใครไปไม่ได้นอกจากรองศาสตราจารย์ดร.จันทิมาเขียวแก้วผู้อำนวยการหลักสูตรดุษฎีบัณฑิตนิเทศศาสตร์การตลาดมหาวิทยาลัยหอการค้าไทยที่แม้วันนี้ใกล้วัยเกษียณอายุราชการแต่ด้วยจิตใจที่เปี่ยมล้นเมตตายังคงเดินหน้าปั้นนักนิเทศศาสตร์การตลาดทั้งปริญญาตรีโทเอกจากรุ่นสู่รุ่น
ผู้คอยปั้นเราให้เป็นดาวดวงที่สดใสทุ่มเทกายและใจด้วยแรงแห่งรักโลกจึงมีดาวนับล้านดวงแต่ละดวงได้แจ้งกระจ่างในความรักที่ครูเป็นผู้สร้างสรรค์
มหาวิทยาลัยหอการค้าไทยถือเป็นสถาบันอุดมศึกษาแห่งแรกที่เปิดหลักสูตรนิเทศศาสตร์การตลาดโดยบูรณาการระหว่างสองศาสตร์เข้าไว้ด้วยกันคือหลักนิเทศศาสตร์และหลักการตลาดนั่นเพราะวิสัยทัศน์ความรู้ความสามารถของเหล่าคณาจารย์มหาวิทยาลัยหอการค้าไทยช่วยกันคิดค้นจนเกิดหลักสูตรนี้ขึ้นจากแรงขับเคลื่อนของรองศาสตราจารย์ดร.จันทิมาเขียวแก้วในฐานะผู้บุกเบิกมีลูกศิษย์เพียงไม่กี่คนที่รู้ว่ารองศาสตราจารย์ดร.จันทิมาเป็นผู้เขียนหลักสูตรมหาบัณฑิตนิเทศศาสตร์การตลาดระหว่างเดินทางไปราชการที่เมืองซูริกประเทศสวิตเซอร์แลนด์โดยเริ่มจากระดับบัณฑิตศึกษาหรือปริญญาโทเมื่อปี 2540 ก่อนต่อยอดไปสู่ในระดับปริญญาเอกและล่าสุดคือหลักสูตรนิเทศศาสตร์การตลาดดิจิทัลระดับปริญญาตรีในปี 2561 ความพยายามในการริเริ่มหลักสูตรใหม่อย่างนิเทศศาสตร์การตลาดไม่ใช่เพียงแค่การเขียนหลักสูตรแล้วสามารถเปิดสอนได้ทันทีรองศาสตราจารย์ดร.จันทิมายังทำให้คนในวงการวิชาการยอมรับหลักสูตรนี้กระทั่งสำนักงานคณะกรรมการการอุดมศึกษารับรองทั้ง3ระดับซึ่งถือว่าแปลกใหม่และสร้างความท้าทายให้กับวงการวิชาการนิเทศศาสตร์ของไทย
สวัสดีค่ะอาจารย์ถ้าพูดถึงอาจารย์จันทิมาค่ะเชื่อมั่นว่านักศึกษาทุกคนค่ะจะต้องคิดเหมือนกิ๊บแน่นอนค่ะมีคำ definition ไม่กี่คำค่ะคำแรกที่เรานึกถึงคือมึนค่ะอาจารย์มึนตรงที่เวลาอาจารย์สั่งงานเราจะงงว่าเอ๊ะตกลงอาจารย์จะให้ทำอะไรนะคะแต่สุดท้ายเราจะต้องมีผู้กล้าตายค่ะไปถามอาจารย์อีกทีนึงค่ะว่าทำแบบนี้ใช่ไหมแล้วก็ผลลัพธ์ในแต่ละ assignment เนี่ยค่ะมันก็จะได้ออกมามันไม่ได้ทันทีนะคะต้องสกัดเรียบร้อยแล้วค่ะถึงจะทราบว่าอ๋อสิ่งที่อาจารย์ต้องการบอกเนี่ยค่ะคือเป็นแบบนี้นี่เองก็เลยได้คำ definition ของอาจารย์ว่าหนูมึนมากเลยค่ะแต่ตอนนี้ค่ะหนูก็เริ่มเห็นแสงสว่างที่ปลายทางอุโมงค์แล้วนะคะเชื่อมั่นว่านักศึกษาทุกคนนะคะน่าจะเพลิดเพลินเวลาได้เรียนกับอาจารย์ค่ะสุดท้ายนี้นะคะก็ขอพระเจ้าอวยพรอาจารย์ให้อาจารย์สุขภาพแข็งแรงนะคะแล้วก็ พอมีสุขภาพดีความสุขก็จะตามมานะคะอาจารย์พวกหนูรักอาจารย์มากๆค่ะขอบคุณมากค่ะสวัสดีค่ะ
ถึง Systematic Review ของหนูจะเสร็จช้าแต่ว่ายังคงเดินหน้าอย่างต่อเนื่องนะคะด้วยวาระใกล้เกษียณอายุราชการของมาดามกรีนแต่ว่าความเป็นมาดามกรีนที่มีออร่านั้นยังคงเบ่งบานสะพรั่งอยู่ขณะนี้นะคะก็ขอให้หม่ามานั้นรักษาสุขภาพร่างกายให้แข็งแรงเป็นร่มโพร่มใสให้กับลูกศิษย์แล้วก็คอยส่งลูกศิษย์ให้ถึงฝั่งฝันค่ะ
ค่ะก็ถ้าจะพูดถึงมาม่านะคะก็ขอขอบคุณค่ะที่มาม่าคอยช่วยผลักดันนะคะแล้วก็เขี่ยวเข็นจนหนึ่งยังคงสภาพเป็นนักศึกษาปริญญาเอกนะคะถ้าไม่มีมาม่าก็คงถอดใจไปนานแล้วนะคะก็ช่วงนี้มาม่าทำงานหนักค่ะมาม่าทำงานหนักตลอดเลยก็อยากให้มาม่าดูแลรักษาสุขภาพเยอะๆนะคะเป็นห่วงแล้วก็รักมาม่าเหมือนเดิมค่ะ
สวัสดีค่ะรุ่น2นะคะก็ก่อนอื่นต้องขอบพระคุณมามากเลยนะคะที่ถ่ายทอดวิชาความรู้ให้กับพวกเรานะคะทั้งรุ่น2นะคะแล้วก็รุ่นพี่แล้วก็รุ่นน้องๆนะคะก็อยากให้มารักษาสุขภาพเยอะๆนะคะเป็นห่วงนะคะรักนะคะ
ก็ต้องขอกราบขอบคุณอาจารย์เป็นอย่างสูงนะคะสำหรับวิชาความรู้ต่างๆที่เป็นเหมือนแสงสว่างนำทางให้กับพวกเราค่ะด้วยความเมตตาในการที่จะเชื่อว่าพวกเรามีศักยภาพในการที่จะพัฒนาตัวเองให้เป็นคนที่มีความรู้ความสามารถจนประสบความสำเร็จได้และให้โอกาสพวกเรามาอยู่ในจุดนี้ค่ะโดยมีทั้งความรักความห่วงใยความอบอุ่นและความเข้าใจมอบให้เสมอมาเปรียบเสมือนคุณแม่คนนึงเลยค่ะและสำหรับจิงโจ้นะคะความรู้สึกทั้งหมดที่มีอยู่ในนี้ค่ะจากคุณครูนะคะ
ขอให้มาได้รับรางวัลอีกเยอะๆเลยนะคะแล้วก็ที่สำคัญที่สุดขอให้มาไม่เจ็บไม่ป่วยมีสุขภาพที่แข็งแรงค่ะ
สำหรับผมรู้สึกดีใจภูมิใจที่ได้เข้าศึกษาต่อในสาขาวิชานิเทศศาสตร์การตลาดสิ่งที่ผมคาดหวังคือความรู้แต่สิ่งที่ผมได้จากคณาจารย์มันมากกว่าสิ่งที่คาดหวังโดยเฉพาะท่านอาจารย์ที่มาท่านได้ถ่ายทอดองค์ความรู้ต่างๆอย่างเต็มที่เท่าที่เราจะรับได้ท่านสร้างให้เราเป็นคนที่มีคุณภาพรู้จักกระบวนการรู้จักวิธีการท่านเป็นมากกว่าอาจารย์ที่ปรึกษาดุษฎีนิพนธ์ซึ่งมันเป็นสิ่งที่สำคัญที่จะทำให้ผมสามารถนำเอาความรู้เหล่านี้ไปพัฒนาและนำไปปรับใช้ในการทำงานได้อย่างมีประสิทธิภาพครับ
ตอนแรกจนถึงวันนี้เนี่ย ในความรู้สึกที่อยู่ในความทรงจำนะครับก็คืออาจารย์เป็นผู้ให้นะครับมอบความปรารถนาดีให้กับลูกศิษย์ทุกๆท่านนะครับรู้สึกถึงพลังงานบวกที่ดีมาตลอดนะครับก็ขอบพระคุณอาจารย์นะครับที่ได้รับผมเข้าเป็นหนึ่งในลูกศิษย์ของอาจารย์นะครับขอบพระคุณอาจารย์ครับ
มีความสุขมากดีใจมากที่มีบุญที่ได้มาเป็นลูกศิษย์ของอาจารย์นะครับก็ขออวยพรให้อาจารย์นะคะสุขภาพแข็งแรงแล้วก็อยู่เป็นร่มโพล่มไทรของหลักสูตรนิเทศศาสตร์ของเราตลอดไปนะครับ
สวัสดีครับขออวยพรนะครับให้อาจารย์จันทิมามีสุขภาพร่างกายที่แข็งแรงนะครับแล้วก็พักผ่อนเยอะๆนะครับอย่าเครียดมากนะครับแล้วก็ขอขอบคุณอาจารย์ครับที่ชักชวนให้ผมเข้ามาเรียนที่มหาวิทยาลัยหอการค้านะครับแล้วผมก็สัญญาว่าจะทำวิจัยให้ดีที่สุดครับไม่ทำให้อาจารย์ผิดหวังครับขอบคุณครับ
หนูก็ไม่มีอะไรจะพูดมากแต่ก็จะขอบอกว่าอาจารย์เปรียบเหมือนแสงสว่างที่ให้โอกาสทุกๆคนเสมอในการที่จะคิดในการที่จะดำเนินการอะไรทุกๆอย่างแล้วหนูก็ภูมิใจดีใจมากที่ได้มาเป็นส่วนหนึ่งของลูกศิษย์อาจารย์ครับสุดท้ายนี้ก็ขอให้อาจารย์มีสุขภาพที่แข็งแรงสมบูรณ์อยู่เป็นร่มโพล่มไทรกับพวกเราไปนานๆแล้วก็พวกหนูต้องการกำลังใจจากอาจารย์เสมอรักอาจารย์ครับ
อาจารย์เป็นคนที่ให้เกียรตินะครับรับฟังนักศึกษาอย่างดีมากอาจารย์ไม่เคยแสดงอาการทำให้เรารู้สึกต่ำต้อยหรือว่ารู้สึกแย่นะครับ ในบางครั้งที่เรารู้สึกว่าเราตอบข้อมูลไม่ดีทุกครั้งที่เราได้ข้อมูลมาอาจารย์มักจะมีคำพูดดีๆให้เราได้รู้สึกดีๆนะครับก็ขอขอบคุณอาจารย์ครับผมขอบคุณมากครับสวัสดีครับ
ผืนดินที่ดียังความเจริญให้แก่ต้นกล้างอกงามไพบูลย์ได้ฉันใดท่านอาจารย์จะได้มาก็ฉันนั้นนะครับผมลูกศิษย์ของท่านอาจารย์ได้มาก็ขอกราบขอบพระคุณท่านอาจารย์จะได้มาแล้วขอให้ท่านจะได้มามีความสุขความเจริญมากๆนะครับ
ท่านอาจารย์จันทิมาที่ฉันนั้นรู้จักท่านมีรักมีเมตตามหาศาลแม้เราดื้อท่านไม่บ่นไม่รำคาญเป็นอาจารย์ที่ทุ่มเทสุดหัวใจเป็นกุญแจแก้และไขให้เสมอช่วยเลคเชอร์ชี้ทางสว่างไสวนำทางศิษย์ให้ก้าวเข้าเส้นชัยให้แรงใจให้พลังให้ปัญญาในวาระครบรอบ60ปีขอท่านมีแต่ความสุขสุดสดใสไร้ทุกข์ไร้โศกไร้โรคภัยเป็นหลักชัยของชาวนิเทศตลอดกาลคือไม่คิดว่า sorry I cannot say in English it's so touching คือไม่คิดว่าสิ่งที่ทำมาจะมีคนรับรู้แล้วก็เข้าใจเพราะว่าคือนี่คือสิ่งที่ตัวเองทำคือทำดีกว่านี้ไม่ได้แล้ว this is my best in doing everything I do for the best ก็รอให้ทุกคนถึงเร็วนะคะใครที่สัญญาว่าจะไม่เกเรก็รีบมาโอเค sorry ขอบคุณมากจริงๆค่ะขอบคุณลูกศิษย์และอาจารย์โดยเฉพาะท่านคณบดีอาจารย์หมีนะคะถึงแม้เราจะถ้าใครเห็นจะคิดว่าเราโกรธกันมากเพราะว่าเวลาเราคุยกันเราจะคุยกันดังมากแล้วก็จะเถียงกันแต่จริงๆเรารักกันมากนะคะก็พี่ก็รู้ว่าหมีรักพี่นะขอบคุณค่ะ Thank you for coming เราหิวแล้วล่ะเพราะเช้าเรายังไม่ได้กินข้าว
ขอบพระคุณครับผมขอบพระคุณ
ขอบคุณทุกท่านนะคะ
ครับก่อนจะแยกย้ายเราขออนุญาตถ่ายรูปหมู่ทุกท่านนะครับขอเชิญด้านหน้าเวทีครับผม
So now we're going to have like group photos so everyone please join at the front of the stage please join for the photo
ครับขอเชิญทุกท่านถ่ายรูปหมู่ครับ
group photo time please join
เชิญครับเชิญครับ
at the front Thank you
ต้องเอาไปเชิญดร.ชอยมา
Please photo
ระหว่างนี้มีผู้ลืมมือถือไว้นะครับมือถือเครื่องนี้ของใครเอ่ยมีคนทำลืมไว้ของผู้ชายลองดูนะอยู่ในห้องน้ำหญิงเหรอครับโอเคครับครับพบแล้วนะเชิญครับเชิญครับเชิญครับหลังจากเราถ่ายรูปเสร็จแล้วเนี่ยจะมีอาหารเที่ยงรอท่านอยู่ในห้องถัดไปนะครับเดินออกประตูด้านข้างไปนะครับ
After we taking group photos we are going to have lunch and the lunch is provided just next door
โอเคครับเชิญห้องข้างๆเลยครับผมเชิญครับขอบคุณทุกคนมากนะครับในวันนี้ต้องขอบคุณผู้จัดงานนะครับANPOR นะครับหรือ Asian Network for Public Opinion นะครับที่ได้เป็นเจ้าภาพในการจัดงานครั้งนี้นะครับขอบพระคุณงานแล้วก็ขอบพระคุณแขกผู้มีเกียรติทุกท่านที่สละเวลามาร่วมกันในวันนี้นะครับถือว่าเป็นหนึ่งในหน้าประวัติศาสตร์ของมหาวิทยาลัยหอการค้าไทยนะครับขอบคุณครับ
This concluded our today's conference. Thank you so much for joining us here today, and please have nice the rest of the day. Thank you very much.